Belasakyo.
Teonna. Really חולה. I'm in trouble.
You come home with me. Call Pete.
The whole Pete.
Now that Yellowstone came to an end, it is time to welcome the most expected new Yellowstone release of 2025-1923 Season 2. The recently released teasers showed that Spencer Dutton is on its way to Montana, Alexandra is suffering in England, Kara and Jacob are desperate for some help to save the ranch, and Jack and Elizabeth are still adorable. I mean, all sound amazing, but what about Teonna Rainwater? She is one of the most underrated characters of the entire franchise for sure, which is odd considering how crucial her storyline is in linking 1923 to the modern-day Yellowstone. So, without further ado, let's talk about Teonna's arc in 1923 Season 2 and how she is linked to the Duttons. It's been a while, but I bet you can still remember the nightmare Teonna was stuck in when we first met her. It was a Catholic boarding school where Indigenous children like her are forced to abandon their culture and language. It was a place of pain, abuse, and violence, and even these remarks are understated considering the horror of the place. But thankfully, Teonna didn't just accept her fate. After years of enduring physical, emotional, and sexual abuse at the hands of the nuns and priests, she decided to escape, killing one of the nuns in the process. From there, her journey has been one of constant flight, with the fear of being captured once again by her former captives. Season 1 left us hanging with Teonna's fate up in the air, but there's one thing we know for sure: her journey isn't over. In the final moments of Season 1, we see Teonna briefly reunited with her father, runs his horse, and his friend Pete Plenty Clouds. At that moment, for the first time ever, she gets a small taste of safety and comfort, something she hasn't had in years. But even in this moment, the world is still cruel to her people, and Teonna knows it. This is where we left Teonna off, and I know many of you guys are still trying to recover from it. Which part of Teonna's storyline impacts you the most? Let me know in the comments. I mean, how can we watch such scenes and recover from it easily? Because you see, the brutal realities of Teonna's life make us ask questions that transcend fiction. For instance, how many Indigenous children went through what Teonna did in the past? How many are still fighting to reclaim their culture and heritage today? These are not just questions about a TV character. They are questions that demand real-world reflection. And yes, they are perhaps the toughest ones to answer. Now, as we move into Season 2, we know for sure that even more brutality expects Teonna. The teaser also shows her suffering once again, and my heart already aches for her. While I'm hopeful that she will eventually find moments of peace and connection, there's no doubt that her survival is still on the line. The thing is, we are just watching it. The cast, however, basically lives through it. In interviews, Amina Neves, who stars as Teonna on the show, has described how difficult it was to portray such a painful story. The government does a really good job at keeping things hidden that they don't want the world to know. She told TV Line in a recent interview, "It brings up a lot of emotions, and it brings up a lot of fear," she continued. And now she is about to return to the screen, reprising this heartbreaking but very important role once again. Do you like Amina's portrayal of Teonna? Let me know in the comments. One thing we will see in Season 2 is Teonna, softening just a little. As I mentioned, she will find moments of tenderness, and maybe even let her guard down a bit. Amina recently shared a hopeful glimpse into her character's growth, saying, "I really hope that you can just see some of the comedy behind her, the subtle comedy that she has within herself, in Season 2. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like for a character who's been trapped in fight or flight mode for so long, this could be a huge step toward healing. Teonna's emotional development is not only tied to her relationships with others, but also to the trauma she's had to live with. In a powerful moment from Season 1, she shares a quiet, tender exchange with Pete by the fire. For Teonna, this is the first real human touch she's had in years. It's the first, honest human touch that she's felt in 5 years, Amina explained in a recent interview. I hope that at the beginning of Season 2, you're going to start to see her guard be let down a little bit more, she said. And I believe that moment of vulnerability could be the first step in her healing journey. Teonna's story is so layered, and as her character opens up, we'll see her grow in ways we didn't expect. She might be tougher than anyone gives her credit for, but at her core, we should remember that she's still a young girl who's been robbed of her childhood. Now here's where things get interesting. We still don't know much about Teonna's connection to Yellowstone's Teonnas Rainwater. I know many of you guys have been speculating for a while now, that Teonna could be Thomas's grandmother, or perhaps an ancestor. The fact that both characters share the same last name cannot be a mere coincidence after all, so we keep looking for a deeper link between the. Amina herself admitted that she has no idea how Teonna is connected to Teonnas Rainwater, but teased that she has some theories of her own. I probably have about 7 different theories about what happens as a whole, she laughed in an interview with Insider. Now, Season 2 will provide an answer to this question for sure. However, it might be in a way that would make our jaws drop. Because perhaps what's even more intriguing is the fact that Teonna's family background itself remains a mystery. Amina said, "I'm glad that they keep us on our toes. They didn't really tell us anything until each episode got in our hands. The mystery of Teonna's heritage is something that keeps me invested in her storyline personally. And I feel like the more we learn about her family, the more we will learn about our beloved Thomas as well." Another question that's been floating around is whether Teonna might find love, especially with someone from the Dutton family. Yes, you heard it right. I know that she hinted at a potential romance with Pete Plenty in Season 1, but if you didn't know, the actor who plays the part tragically passed away a few months ago, meaning that this storyline has a dead end now. Plus, knowing that the Yellowstone Ranch now passed to the Native Americans once again, and the Duttons welcomed the idea wholeheartedly, it makes sense to create a connection between a Native American character and a Dutton. In 1883, we saw Elsa getting married with a Native American man. In Yellowstone, Casey is married to a Native American woman. So, it only makes sense to see yet another Dutton member with a Native American character in 1923. And Teonna is perfect. Also, linking Teonna to the Duttons would create a link between Thomas and the Duttons as well, which would be epic in my opinion. Let me know which Dutton member is likely to have a romance with Teonna in 1923 Season 2. Drop your theories below. Amina recently shared her thoughts about Teonna's personality and potential romantic side. She's witty, man. Teonna's very witty. So, is it just me, or is she the most perfect love interest for any Dutton? For more weekly updates and analysis on the Yellowstone universe, make sure to like and follow. To find out what happened in the Yellowstone finale, watch the video on the screen.